and taken to the hospital. They drew blood on her, and her blood alcohol level was 0.575. And up until recently, she held the local record for the highest blood alcohol level of someone who actually lived. Now, 0.08 is legally drunk if you're behind the wheel of a car. 0.4 is generally considered to be the death threshold. And this was an hour after they picked her up. Her blood alcohol was 0.575, so you assume she hadn't drank in a while, and her blood alcohol was probably well over 0.6. We kid her that she hasn't gotten as many promotions since she got sober as she did when she drank, right? Her liver is not like a normal person's liver. There's a physician I know who, when he was ultimately arrested, he was arrested for obtaining drugs with intent to deliver. Now, he wasn't delivering them, but he was charged that way because they went to the state police toxicology lab, and they said, is it possible for a person to do in excess of 120 Percocets a day and practice medicine? And the toxicology lab wisely said, no, it's physically impossible. The Tylenol alone would be enough to kill the person, right? And of course, the last month he used, he cashed scripts for 3,600 Percocets and was doing rounds in this hospital. So there's more going on. We know a lot more than when I started in the field about addiction as a brain disease, but it's more complex than that. And because it's more complex than that, and because it affects behavior and judgment and volition, it's easier for people to characterize it as something other than a disease, right? And we run into it all the time. And boy, I would love to. Prejudice is better than when I got in the field more than 40 years ago, but it's not a lot better. And there continues to be tremendous prejudice toward people with addictions. And partly because of that, managed care pretty much obliterated the treatment industry that used to exist back in the late 70s into the 80s. There used to be able to flip open a Yellow Pages. How many of you remember what a Yellow Pages was? You could flip open a Yellow Pages and leaf through page after page after page of treatment centers. You could literally pick one and they'd admit you. And now they're all gone. So, all right, questions so far? This make sense? All right. All right. So the causal model works for simple diagnosis, and what ends up happening with addiction is people drop back into these other models. The moral model, right? Addiction is a result of sin or wrongdoing. Personality. How do we know that it's not a personality disorder? Well, for one thing, we can give it to mice.